Warning. The following program contains strong language and subject matter which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this program is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Drag Closet, the interactive podcast where we talk about all things drag and some things that aren't. Who knows? We're really just here to have a good time. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day.
So tonight is just a special episode that is just going to be me and my wonderful husband, Derek. So he'll show up later.
I'll have to leave.
Exactly. So yeah, tonight's just a night of us hanging out, answering questions, and having a wonderful, wonderful time. I see Vicky and Robin are the first ones here. Awesome. Jess is here as well. Oh, the Patreons are out in force tonight. Daniel is here. Hello, darling. How are you? So, Derek, since you are the special guest tonight, give us a little who, what, where about you.
Oh God, I came so unprepared.
Yeah.
My name is Derek Gamble Ernst. I am a graphic artist. I am also a drag husband to Jade and DEREK. I am a show director of a show in New Cumberland, Pennsylvania called Divas Down Under, and I am currently a YouTuber who is severely slacking. So hopefully once the spring comes around, I'll get back to that. And then what am I wearing? I'm wearing this hoodie that could be best described as that art that people make with melting crayons. And this came from Amazon. It was bought by my lovely partner. And yeah.
Awesome. I see that our wonderful fellow co-host Amethyst is popping in to watch this evening. Amethyst is currently in New Orleans enjoying Mardi Gras right now. So she doesn't know where she is. She's having a great time.
Go check out her page. The videos are wild.
Oh, absolutely. My friends Devin and Josh are down there as well. And every video I'm just like, I don't need that in my life. I am good. So everybody, tonight's just a night of Ask Us Anything. You know, we got engaged 11 years ago this Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11 years.
No.
Yes.
It was the 9th.
It was the 9th?
So it would have been Friday.
Friday.
What are you wearing? Who are you?
Who am I? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm Jade and DEREK. I'm a drag artist based out of South Central Pennsylvania. You're welcome, Alanya. South. South, she'll cut you. What am I wearing? I am wearing a beautiful jewelry set. This jewelry set was by Raving Diva Jewels. Michelle Lee Sterling made this set, and I absolutely love it. I've been thinking about getting a matching wig. I just haven't bit the bullet on it, the tinsel one. I'm thinking about
It's my favorite jewelry set you have. That color is the camera does that set no justice. It's stunning. It's like neon coral.
Yeah, don't pay attention to the chipped nails. It's inside the drag closet.
I didn't paint mine either. Don't feel bad.
My hair was styled. The downside of getting a styled wig is they only have a certain shelf life to that style, so I had to wash it. But this is by Wigs by Tiff. It was a big ponytail. I just had to restyle it. And I'm just wearing a whole bunch of shenanigans. The dress is from Amazon. I wanted to match the paint splatter shenanigans this evening. But it looks like we are getting questions already. So the first question, how did you two meet? Go ahead. Tell them.
I've told this story a million times, but that's fine. So up until we met, I was not drag wasn't really for me, which I wish I could tell myself then what I know now. But I came from a very small town. I grew up in the woods. So coming out of the closet was very late in life. It was like my early to mid 20s. And when I came out, I just wasn't, I dipped my toes into the pool and I was like, nope, this is too much for me right away. So I started hanging out at our local, I call it the blue collar bar, or like our gay cheers called the Brownstone. And that was where I hung out. It's like the local bear bar and things like that. But I was also starting to DJ. And Harrisburg Area Community College, at least at the time, had a gay straight alliance. And it was, I think it was just called the Hack Allies.
Yeah.
And they were looking for a DJ, and I had started advertising on Craigslist because I didn't want to pay to advertise because cheap and poor. So they messaged me one day and asked me if I would start doing drag shows for them, which is actually where I met quite a few drag performers before Jade, but never really got close to them, didn't know much about them, just knew who they were. And then I met a student there who was performing at those shows, who later became a friend of mine for a little while, and invited me to Stallions to go cheer them on, kind of as the only friendly face in the crowd because they were very new. And met Jade and Aurora F. Sterling in the basement of Stallions at the very same time they were having a conversation. And I didn't know any of the etiquette of drag or the idea of not using performer names. Very, very new, very green. And met them both at the same time. And then
dated Aurora.
Well, yeah, for a very short time. And then through hanging out with Aurora, I got to meet a lot of other drag performers and got to know people better. And then that didn't work out, which I'm so happy for Aurora now, who is happily married and having a gay old time. And then got to meet Jade and hang out. And we went on a date at one point. It was awful. Awful. Worst date of my life. And then we didn't talk for a couple months because Jade went away for the New Jersey Renaissance Fair and some other projects. And then when you came back, just randomly, I think it was you that messaged me one night on Facebook.
Yeah, out of nowhere, like
just randomly.
Was like, hey, do you want to go grab food or something?
Yeah, so we had another date. We went to Applebee's in front of the now doomed Harrisburg East Mall.
Yep.
We went to Applebee's and
went to Toys R Us afterwards.
And
that's what it was.
And that was it. And then from there we were like, okay, maybe we just weren't ready the first time around. So
yeah, I think our intention of that first date was just not. I'm glad it didn't work out. Like,
yeah,
I was not ready for a relationship or anything, and it was what it was. Although I will say, when we started dating, one of the funniest things that I still find funny to this day was I was going off to do the New Jersey Renaissance Fair, and his response was, "Baby, I can't take off for a month to go with you." And I was like, "Nobody asked you to. This is my thing."
Yeah. Well, so to be fair, you were one of my first actual relationships ever. And to jump into essentially my first real relationship with a performer and an actor, that was definitely something.
Hazing.
Yeah, it was definitely something I was not aware of. And I read back some of those old messages sometimes when
we're gross.
And I'm like, ew, I wouldn't have dated me either. Like, ugh. But I was young and stupid and had no game, so I lucked out.
Yay! I'm a prize.
That's what I tell myself every day.
Daniel's question here. I love this question. Derek, have you ever thought about making a book out of all of your drag tips?
So I love that idea, and I probably could. However, Trixie Valentine already has an amazing book on that very topic that says everything I would say and probably more, and probably in a more eloquent way than I would put it, because I'm a bit harsh sometimes, and I'm sure you guys see that in my tip of the week or whatever. So I would say go check out Trixie Valentine's book. I forget what the name of it is.
Is it Glitter on My Tips? No, that's the
name of the podcast. Just look up Trixie Valentine. You'll be able to find the book. It's an incredible book. We have a copy, and it's full of really great tips for performers, promoters, audience members. It's a good book. So I could do it, but I don't think I need to, because I think it's already been done.
Yeah, that book, she gave me a copy at a gig that we were at, and literally we digested that whole book on the way home. It is so good and so informative, and it covers more than just, you know, it has a section for drag performers, it has a section for audience members, it has a section for promoters. It's so good. Maybe do a sequel with her.
That could be fun.
That'd be fun.
What I like about it is it's not just a, hey, these are the things you should be doing kind of book. There's plenty of that, and there's plenty that's necessary. But it also kind of takes you behind the curtain a little bit and is like, these are why we're saying these things. This is the stuff we've experienced that makes us say the things we do. Because I know I'm very opinionated on a lot of my drag tips, but I've also been in this game for almost 10 years now, and I've seen a lot. And, you know, it may come off harsh sometimes, but I think a little bit of harsh, if it affects change, is probably worth it. So I don't really regret it.
Well, that's one thing we talk about a lot lately. There are too many drag performers who just surround themselves with people who just say, yes, you're amazing, you're perfect, you're flawless. No, find people who are helping you progress. Yes, positive reinforcement is great. It's wonderful. We all want it. But we also need those people to be like, hey, hairline, bring it down a little bit.
Or, hey, not everything needs to go on Facebook.
Yeah, that's a big one. Not everything needs to be on Facebook. Like you and I, we don't air, well, we don't have dirty laundry. We're just,
even if we did, that's not really a thing that we've ever done. And for my part of that, sorry if I'm talking
No,
too
it's
much,
fine.
feel free to cut me off. One of my best friends in the whole world, who recently moved away, is Jessie Gann, who used to be Cleona de Flair Sterling, partner to Belladonna. And one of the best pieces of advice he ever gave me wasn't even drag related. And he basically said, and I'm going to try to paraphrase this for Facebook, but he basically said, you only get so much ammo for your pew pew. That's what you call it on Facebook, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You only get so much ammo. So if you're going to use it up, it better be for good reasons, because if you're constantly kind of like Boy Who Cried Wolf, no one's going to care. So that's why sometimes, you know, it's very rare for me to post about drag drama or just drama in general on Facebook. And I'm on Facebook constantly all day. I have a desk job that affords me social media time. But there's not a lot that's worth it to me, because a lot of it's just attention seeking, and I don't have time for it. So if you see me post about something or about someone, first of all, I very rarely veg post because I feel like that's annoying. So if it's something I'm going to post about, it's probably a big deal, at least to me. So yeah.
Yeah. Keep it off of Facebook. Well, and like drag is a business. The more you're airing dirty laundry on Facebook, the more people are like, oh, that person's drama. I don't know if I want them in my show. So, you know, RuPaul's Drag Race is drama because it's reality TV. It is heightened reality. That's not what drag is. You know, there's a big difference. So you don't need to be drama to be interesting.
Well, I think the problem is Drag Race takes you into their dressing room, which most audience members are not privy to. And there's a reason for that, because there are conversations that happen, there are disagreements, and there are things that go on behind the curtain that if the average audience member saw, it may give them a wrong impression if they don't know what that world is like. Yeah. So I think it was the last episode where my drag tip was create a private Facebook group in your local area where you can all hash out your stuff behind closed doors, because nobody needs to see that and it's not helping anybody.
Very true. Amethyst has a question for us because
Amy,
she's an instigator and I love it. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about each other?
Oh, damn.
My favorite thing about you is how determined you are. Like you have been so committed to losing weight lately that like every day I look and I'm like, shit, now I'm gaining weight. I need to get on board.
It's not easy.
Yeah. But you're sticking to it and I'm proud of you for that.
Thanks. What's your least favorite thing about me?
Coming downstairs and having to clean up the entire coffee table that is covered in food.
Okay, it's not covered in food. It's food wrappers.
Food plates.
Okay.
Plates covered in stuff that I'm allergic to.
Okay, we need to be descriptive. I like mustard. I love mustard on everything.
And I'm allergic to it.
Wildly so. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is something I need to work on. For you, I don't really, this is going to sound like a cop out, but it's true because I've been asked this question before. I don't think it's a thing in general. I think it's just my visceral response to you existing. There's something about you.
Something you hate about me. Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it. No, there's just something about like, I can't picture my life without you in it. And just like, sometimes even when we're irritating each other and we're in different parts of the house because we need space, I'm just like, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah. To quote Trixie and Katya, I just like you.
Yeah.
I just like you.
And my least favorite thing about you.
That I leave drag all over the dining room table.
That's just annoying, but I'm a surface abuser too, so I can hardly be mad about it. And it's not like we actually eat at our dining room table.
That's true. This is the first time we've sat at it in years.
Well, I don't think it's been years, but it's probably
a year.
Least favorite thing about you. I don't think you trust your instincts enough.
Oh, that's accurate. That is so accurate.
Yeah, you're the king and queen simultaneously of second guessing yourself, and I think sometimes it hinders your creative process. And when I know what the original thought was, and then that doesn't happen, I find myself getting irritated because I'm like, no, I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what that was.
Even the number I was talking about doing tonight, I have second guesses on it because something I'm not going near. So I'm going to do a number from Star Trek, the Strange New Worlds episode that was musical. I loved it, but I'm doing a number that Uhura sings. I'm not doing blackface or anything like that because hello, problematic. But I'm still in that vague area of should I even do it? Like I'm going with a very retro hairstyle. Not that I'm wearing retro hairstyle tonight, but like I'm doing a ponytail. I'm going to look like number one, but in Uhura's uniform. But I keep on waffling on that because I'm so afraid of. It's the same thing with flying. Like we're going to Disney next week, and I'm very excited about it. A week from now, we are going to be bumming around Disney, doing absolutely nothing, calling Amethyst and Paula, wishing them a happy birthday.
I can't wait. I'm so ready to be away from this nonsense of winter. I hate seasons. I'm over it.
Oh, and it's supposed to be awful this weekend. So, but we're flying, and I'm terrified of flying. I've done it before. I don't know why. And so I've been watching videos of flights taking off, flights landing. I think I'm okay, but we'll see what happens.
You're going to be fine.
I'm going to be fine. Amber, thank you for the birthday wishes. Robin's question, what was one of your favorite date nights you've been on?
There's so many because we literally make time for a date night once a week. We have a day of the night or a night of the week.
A day of the night.
A day of the night. We have a night of the week every week. It's typically Thursday. It's a night that lines up on both of our calendars where we have date night every week.
Yep.
And that can be anything from going out to dinner, going to a movie, going and eating food at the food court and then walking around window shopping, or some nights it's just ordering food in and watching a movie or whatever. But we try to find that and even if it doesn't encompass the whole evening, it's still an hour or two that
it's just us.
Like there's no phones, there's no computer, unless we're playing video games,
which we do.
Yeah, I have so many fun ones. Probably one of my favorites was when we decided right after I got off work one night. It was a weird night of the week. I don't think it was Thursday. And we were like, we're just going to drive to Inner Harbor just for dinner.
Yeah. That was fun.
And we just went. And we spent more time driving there and back, just talking and listening to music than we actually spent at the restaurant. But it was fun.
Yeah.
We should do that again.
I love that idea. Because it's not that far.
No, it was far enough that it felt like, should we be doing this? It's a work. It almost felt like being like, oh, it's a school night, you know? But yeah, stuff like that's fun.
Yeah. Oh God, Karma Chaos is here.
Hi.
Karma, I love the Facebook pictures you've been posting lately. Just of you. Not in drag, just you. I think every once in a while you just have to do that and remind yourself, hey, the person underneath the drag is very important. Which I actually toyed with tonight. I almost did tonight, not in drag, but I was like, no, I need to be in drag for tonight.
I think the only way we could have got away with that is if you would have put me in drag.
And I just don't have the strength.
Me neither.
We asked last week, like, what do people want to see tonight? And a lot of the responses was me putting him in drag. And I've done it before, so we do have photos. I want you to tell everybody a fond memory of this evening.
Oddly enough, there really weren't fond memories of that evening
Correct.
because I do not like being in drag. As a couple, drag has this weird flip-flop effect with us, whereas Jade out of drag is not very outgoing, except around friends, but is
Yeah.
more introverted and kind of shy. And then Jade is very bubbly and over the top and like a cartoon character, and that it works. Whereas with me, I tend to be a bit more extroverted and open and bubbly and easily make friends and things like that as Derek. But the couple times that I've been in drag, it's one thing to put it on as a costume because everyone's done that. But like there's been 3 or so times that I've done it for performance for whatever reason, and it completely makes me feel out of my element. I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm invading a space that's not mine, and it makes me feel incredibly out of place and very self-conscious. So it's not a thing that I enjoy.
Yeah.
The transformation's fascinating, and I cannot do it myself.
There is a picture of you doing it yourself.
Yeah, I end up looking like Bluto from Popeye. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
Tell me I'm wrong. I kind of
So-
didn't care because it was a chicken shit gig, but
It was a little bingo night.
I miss those though. They were so much fun.
They had Felicia doing it. She wasn't available a couple times. I filled in a few times, but then there was one night no one else was available, so you went and did it.
No, because there was a while where it rotated between you, Belladonna, and Felicia, and for some reason that night none of you were available. I think you were doing some other gig, but it was literally 50 yards from our apartment.
Oh yeah,
And
walking distance.
And I was like, you know what? I'll just go. And I actually took my little brother and one of his best friends. It was really funny.
Yep. But talking about this world you don't belong in. Hey, what show do we have coming up in March? Do you want to talk about it?
Shows? Oh yeah, we have the Divas Down Under Spring Spectacular Drag Show starring Amethyst Diamond, Divinity Cruz, Stella Sweet, Poison, Jade DeVere, and Alize La Diamond. It starts at 10:30. Seating starts at 10. General admission $15, and preferred seating is $20, which we call our VIP, but really it's just preferred seating.
Yep. A lot of people ask us all the time, why is VIP in the back of the room? Because it's tall tables or it's the back of the room. So you're not doing this the entire show to try to watch us perform.
Right. So for any of you that have never been to drag or to Divas Down Under, first of all, shame on you. But
I will kill you.
But it's set up in a comedy club, and all the tables are bolted to the floor. So they're only unidirectional. They all face the stage. So the closer you are to the stage, the more time you spend craning your neck backwards to try to see what's going on behind you, because the stage is actually utilized very little during the show. We actually have a policy where we require that the performers at least spend a little bit of time on the stage, just so people up front get an experience where they're not craning their necks. But VIP is in the back because, first of all, that's where the performers enter and exit, and it's also, there's a bit of a catwalk like right in front of it that works out really well, so you get a bit more of an experience.
Yep. All right. Speaking of that show, what inspired you to start your own drag show?
It kind of happened accidentally.
Yeah.
There was a show that
shoot, I missed a question. We'll come back to that.
There was a show that was happening at the Comedy Zone already back in the day, many moons ago, probably close to 12 years ago. What is now known as Boomerang used to be called Doc Holidays, and the Comedy Zone still existed there, but everything was under different ownership and management. And there was another performer that was running a show, but drag was very different back then and not nearly as easy to fill a large space. So unfortunately, the show there was underperforming, and the owners were about to kill it. They were about to kill it off. So Jade and another performer who no longer performs except for special occasions,
Shirley Truffle,
Sherry Trifle, who I love and miss dearly. They approached the owners and were like, "Hey, we don't."
They approached us.
Really? I thought that you guys went to them.
Nope. They wanted to talk to us.
But they basically came to an agreement that was, Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take over. We don't want the show to die. Here's what you can expect from us, and here's what we expect from you. So that show became Killer Queens, which had a little bit of a rotating door of performers just for different reasons. I know Anita Dixon was a part of it for a while.
Tamala
Trix was a part of it towards the end. Let's see, Sherry was in it. You were in it. Cleona DeFlair was in it for a hot minute. Katarina was in it pretty much the whole time.
Aurora?
Aurora did it for a little bit. But the problem with that show is eventually Doc Hollidays went out of business for whatever reason, and we saw the writing on the wall. Things were happening there that we were like, oh, this is not going well. But also, as things often do at that time, we were also pretty much threatened by an international cover band, an all-female cover band that played Queen songs, and their group was called Killer Queen, and they were going to be coming through our area. I believe they were from the UK. And they basically sent us a cease and desist, which made no sense. But we were like, you know what? The venue's going out of business anyway.
They were nice, even though it was a cease and desist. They were like, we love drag. We love what you do. Change the name of your show. Or
yeah, there was definitely undertones of aggression. But we were like, you know what? We're probably already going out of business, so let's just do it. And then the building stood vacant for 2 or 3 years. And this is pre the blip. And and it was just empty. And then finally the owners, who are no longer the owners now, bought it, changed it into an Australian themed sports bar, and decided to continue with Comedy Zone. But we messaged them several times and we were like, hey, we're one of the biggest attractions at this venue. We've been here for a long time. You know, before Doc Hollidays went out of business, our shows were so big that they actually were having trouble finding seats in the building. So at one point, they bought out all of the pews from a church and lined an entire ballroom in church pews once a month for us just to have seating. But the Comedy Zone with the new ownership was not really sure what to do with us or really what we were about. So it took a long time. And eventually I said to you one night, I was like, I'm not reaching out anymore. We had our time. It's over. And then I think about 3 hours later, they messaged us and they were like, hey, we want to revisit this. And we just celebrated 7 years of doing the show there under the name Divas Down Under, which is hilarious because we recently got a message from someone that was like, do you all do drag in Australia? And we were like, no, it's just an Australian sports bar. So,
oh yeah, that was funny.
It was pretty funny. I enjoyed that.
Next question. If you were to perform as a duo act, what would you perform and why? This has been brought up a number of times by me. And we've talked about this before. Just us doing a number together, and he doesn't want to do a number with me.
It's not that I don't want to do a number with you, and I feel like I keep giving the long-winded answer, so cut me off.
Oh, that makes my job easier. You've seen me after shows. Ooh, that person was a talker, and I loved it.
So the thing about performing with you is you are such, and obviously I'm biased. Obviously we're together. I get this, but I'm also a show director, so I know what I'm looking for as an audience member and as a director. You are really hard to put with anyone that can match your energy. And whether you're trying or not, it's really easy for you to outperform someone, even someone who's been doing it for a long time. I wouldn't stand a chance, and I don't really feel like I need to take that risk. So I think if there was something we were going to do, it would have to be something we were both doing for a reason.
The internet is for porn from Avenue Q.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Yep. That'd be the number we do.
Or we could do If You Were Gay, and we could both be the puppets.
Yes.
And the puppet could actually just be the one that looked like it was holding us in the center. That'd be cute.
Estee would like to know, what is your favorite mall food?
Am I dieting or not dieting?
Not dieting.
Okay, not dieting. Probably orange chicken.
Yeah.
Or a Sparrow stromboli, but I've heard some horrible things about our Sparrows lately, so I don't do it.
At the mall near us, there's a place that does shawarma, and I want to try it. I've never had shawarma, but we decided on our next date night I'm going to try it.
Yeah. And our mall just got a Taco Bell finally.
Mine will probably, there's a teriyaki place at our mall that is just remarkable. I get steak and shrimp teriyaki.
And it always smells so good.
It always tastes so good.
Jade has this horrible talent for us going somewhere that sells multiple kinds of foods, and we always sit down and I go, "Damn, your food looks better than mine." Every single time.
Estee would like to know, no Katarina in this show. Who will play the prepubescent or the pubescent teenage girl in the play? Alize.
Yeah.
So Alize and Katarina rotate every month.
Yeah, they're actually both in Divas. Kat is on an every other month rotator because she didn't want to commit to a monthly spot, which left us a spot for another performer. And then when we got to know Alize better, it just made sense, and she's an excellent fit. So, and eventually that may change if someone else leaves the show. We have recently made the cast smaller once Pola stepped away, which Pola, we love you and you're welcome back anytime. But for the time being, especially while crowds are smaller, a smaller cast just makes sense.
Yep. We have been noticing, and it's not just our show, like shows in general, the audience just isn't there. And it's because the economy sucks right now. So,
well, even restaurants that you used to not be able to get into without like a 3-week reservation are empty.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yep. I love this question from Trixie de Flair. If wine and blood represented Christ, what would represent you?
2 things. I mean,
that's his.
I was trying to hide the logo, but yeah. Yeah, diet soda is definitely one for me, and then I have to pick something else. Probably diet soda and color. Just color in general.
Yeah. What would be mine? Dr. Pepper, or yeah, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. And mac and cheese.
No.
Yeah.
No. Sushi.
Okay.
We had sushi on Monday. He took me out to a nice little place called Mikado, and I had $40 worth of sushi, and it was so good.
Yeah, Mikado is awesome.
Yep.
Although I just don't understand the expansion. What a weird time to expand.
Yeah, the building expanded, but it's a beautiful little place. It's just they expanded one direction, but you enter somewhere. It's pretty.
I'm hoping they're expecting their numbers to kick up because it's a place that deserves to have bigger crowds, but they've never had big crowds.
Yeah.
So the idea that the building is bigger makes no sense to me, unless they're trying to sell it and they're trying to make the building worth more. I don't know.
Oh, I hope not. Well, that's all the question. Derek, I'm also drinking my Diet Pepsi 40 ounce. Messes, all of you.
They have them at the dollar store now, so I'm not mad about it.
Speaking of messes, keep those questions coming. They are fantastic. But I'm going to ask you about another picture.
Oh.
And you know it's coming. You've seen this picture before. Yeah. Let's talk about this picture right here.
Yes. So that was State Street, wasn't it?
2017.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, Stallions used to host a pageant that was kind of an anti-pageant called the State Street pageant, because back in the day, State Street in Harrisburg is where some of the more experienced performers in the area would sometimes go to turn tricks. Yeah. So it became kind of like a blue humor kind of a pageant, and it was the most fun ever. But that year in particular, I was Mr. Stallions, which is why I'm wearing the crown, and they asked me to judge. I think it was my second or third time judging.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't really want to get into drag, because usually I would have to perform as part of my obligation as a title holder. I was like, you know what? I went to a dress store that was going out of business. I bought a bunch of the same dress, and we had 2 in the collection that looked exactly alike, and they fit both of us. It was awful red satin with a satin leopard print interior, like the nanny named Fran kind of vibes. And I was like, I'm gonna dress as you after State Street. So I literally picked all the same colors you were wearing, put on the same dress, and then I think problematic now I realize it was, I brought out a cardboard sign. I think it said "We'll slay for tips," or
it was something stupid.
We'll slay for grilled cheese or something. It was so stupid, but I wore like beat up old combat boots, and I just walked around grimacing at everyone. It was a lot of fun.
You performed that number after I had performed in the same outfit.
Yeah.
Like, it was So much fun. And that was the night I showed up and nobody had signed up to compete. So, well, no queens had signed up to compete. So I was like, I'll do it. They're like, you're the MC. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I did it with what was in my bag. I remember I came out for, I think it was evening wear or something like that. And we were laughing because my evening wear was your clothes that were in the dressing room.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah. My street clothes were your evening wear.
It was so fun.
But yeah, that pageant was so much fun. I'm not a big pageant person. I respect it and I am fascinated by the people that do it, but I'm not really the kind of person, even though I'm a show director, to ever really throw my hat in the ring for promoting a pageant. But if that came back, I think I would be willing to do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. It was such a therapeutic pageant because the rules went out the window and we just had irresponsible fun.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff that happened there that would never happen in any other show. Nothing illegal or that bad, but just stuff that you're like, oh, no. Like,
Shitting table.
I never liked Nutella to begin with, and that has not changed since that night.
Somebody did a number on a shitting table.
It was on YouTube for a lot of years until somebody went into politics.
Accurate. So, if you were to do a commercial for a product as a drag persona, what product would you want to do it for, and what song would you do? I have no idea.
Oh, goodness.
Dr. Pepper, book me in a commercial.
Do I have to be me, or can I be any other drag performer? Because I would love to see Evie Oddly do an ad for Slinky. Because
I'm in.
Evie is so flexible. Could you imagine Evie tumbling downstairs while a Slinky is going? That would be everything. And it would have to be the original song.
Yep.
Just the Slinky theme song.
Who snores the loudest?
Oh, me. Well, maybe not now since I've lost weight.
Yeah, you don't snore as much anymore.
My snoring is very much weight dependent. Just for context, in the last year, I've lost about 45 pounds. Even though the internal struggle of myself is really noticing it. But yeah, I am a terrible snorer. Yeah, very much so. You do too, a little bit.
I do. When I'm exhausted, I will.
Yeah, I can tell. Like, it's usually when you've had like a 3-day weekend of drag gigs, like.
Mm-hmm. And I'm out. Lacrosse, we were literally talking about you just a little while ago.
I love your pillow. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Lacrosse's Facebook and check out the Valentine's Day gift that happened today.
That pillow is amazing. But yeah, what is one question you've always had for me? I mean, we live together. Like, this is.
I don't know.
Yeah. We're very open with each other. Like, we talk all the time. Like,
yeah, sometimes we're a little too close. Like, I wouldn't say we're to the level of codependency, but there's times like when I'm bored, you're always my first person I message.
mm-hmm.
Like, but what's a question I always like to ask you? Okay, here's a fun one.
All right.
It has to be someone who does drag that we have a personal relationship with.
I hate this question already.
If you could swap drag personas entirely with someone else that we know for a night to perform as them,
mm-hmm.
who would it be and why?
Great question. There are a lot of people I would switch with, to be very honest. Because there's so many good performers around here. I almost want to say Amethyst. Then I'm like, no, we've started overlapping a bit more. Maybe, no. That's tough.
Yeah, that's why I asked it.
That's a fun one. Krishnara.
Ooh.
Krishnara Sparks Diamond. Incredible performer.
I'm a fan.
Just beautiful human. No, Krishnara one night. The next night I'm showing up as Divinity. Divinity okay. Cruise. Because I adore her.
And
I like, there's so many good answers to that.
you can only beat Divinity if you chase Callie Couture around the room. It's my favorite thing now.
The two of them are adorable and just get on each other's nerves in all the best ways. Vicky would like to know, where would you all like to go for a dream vacation? We've been to Disney a number of times, so that's not quite the answer.
This one's hard for me because before we got together, I had never been on a vacation. Vacation for me, the biggest or closest thing I had ever gone on a vacation was my mom's aunt lived in Maryland. God rest her soul, we miss her dearly. And we would go there for weekends once or so a year, and that was kind of our idea of a vacation. Vacation for us was like, oh, we're going to go to Hershey Park for the day, or oh, we're going to go to Knoebels Grove, or something like that. So I never really experienced vacations with you, like a vacation, probably until our honeymoon.
No, we went to Disney a year before our wedding. Remember?
No.
Didn't we do? No, we went. Where did we go? We went on a vacation. We had like our 1-year anniversary until our wedding. Was it Ocean City, Maryland? No, that was Adventure Vacation.
Oh, when we just drove.
Yeah, we got in the car and drove. Ended up in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, we just decided, you know what, we have some money in our accounts. We've got a weekend to kill. Let's just get in the car and drive, and we'll end up where we end up. Dream vacation, though, I mean, I don't know. And especially now, the world is so volatile, not to get political. Like, I don't know if there's really anywhere outside of the US that I'd really super feel comfortable visiting. I'd love to see Hawaii, but it feels a little insensitive to go there vacationing right now with all they're going through.
Oh, yeah.
There is a trip that I would love to do. This might be my answer, where basically you fly out to the West Coast and then you ride a train the whole way back to New York. And they time it so that you're hitting all these amazing, beautiful sights. They're like glass top train cars, and you're hitting all these beautiful sights right at the optimum time to see them. So I think that would probably be my dream vacation
That'd be cool.
that I can think of. And we have the bucket list trips like Vegas and other stuff, but that's dependent on how our flight this weekend goes. So.
Yeah, we're gonna see if I deal well with being on a plane. I think I'll be fine, but sorry, I just saw the new message that came in. My dream vacation, it used to be Hawaii, but like Derek said, like now is not the time. I don't know. Lacrosse says New Orleans. I've been to New Orleans.
We had talked about going there at one point, but for some reason we just didn't.
We were going to go for Tom and Melissa's wedding.
Oh, yeah.
And we just couldn't afford to go at that time.
Yeah, I just think the timing was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, everything just kind of hit us all at the same time. Jade, I'm a drag king from upstate New York. Insane is my drag name. Oh, fantastic. My goal is to get you here. Just adore you. Oh, thank you.
I love shows like that.
Show that's Kings, Queens, Burlesque, all the things. Yeah, shows like that are fantastic. We used to have a show down here that had a very similar vibe, but that show just, we couldn't get the crowd for some reason. And now that venue doesn't even exist. But
Harrisburg has a weird
Slim Sane. I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Harrisburg has this weird long-standing thing that's called the East Shore West Shore divide. It's kind of like a new egg old egg kind of thing. It's that ridiculous. Where it's like people that are on the East Shore, you know, which is the Harrisburg proper side, don't really, at least the saying is they don't really come to the West Shore, and people from the West Shore don't really go to the East Shore. And our show was in Harrisburg. And it was such a great time, but it just never really caught the traction it deserved. So maybe someday I'll bring it back.
We still have people that are weird about going to the Harrisburg Comedy Zone. It's in New Cumberland. It's not in Harrisburg. And also, get over it. Like, it's...
And the reason it's called the Harrisburg Comedy Zone is because Comedy Zone is actually, it's a chain, much like McDonald's or anything like that. There's comedy zones all over the country. So it's just because Harrisburg is the closest major city.
Yeah. It's a beautiful little venue. Like, Comedy Zone, just they treat us so lovely there. Like, even when things are not ideal, they take very good care of us. Our bouncer, Todd, incredible. We love Todd. We always tell new girls that are coming to the show, this is Todd. He's going to be terrifying to meet, but he's really the nicest person. Because literally, his voice is down here and very gravelly, but wonderful human being.
Todd looks like an MMA fighter / Batman villain, but I guarantee you he sleeps with a teddy bear.
Oh, completely.
Like, totally seems the type. Like, I would not want to meet him, even knowing him in a dark alley, but he's so nice, and we do our best to treat them well as well.
Yeah, the whole family that runs the Comedy Zone, we treat them well, they treat us well.
And the Comedy Zone checks many boxes
mhm.
that I think a good drag show needs.
Yep.
Which is hard. It's hard to find a combo, because when Doc Holidays went out of business, we scoured the local area for a venue that met all those same criteria, and there weren't any.
Nope.
There's two venues now that I feel are kind of on the same level, with amenities and kind of stage space, and that would be JB Love Drafts, which has shows with Callie Couture, and also the Harrisburg Midtown Arts Center is pretty great. There's shows there with either Betty Whitecastle and Lizzie Beaumont, or Jasmine Bell Houston. So both of those venues are really cool. But at the time, JB Love Drafts was just a little bar on 2nd Street, and HMAC was a bit more problematic back then. So
yeah,
lots have changed for the good, at least I think so, with HMAC now. I haven't heard anything bad, and people seem to really enjoy JB Love Drafts. Also, shout out to JB Love Drafts for standing strong in light of recent shenanigans that have been happening. I apologize on behalf of humanity that they have to deal with that, and also that Callie Couture has to deal with that as well. So,
and also that you have to deal with Callie Couture. That's, my heart goes out to
I wish she would pop in.
Right?
It's more fun to talk shade on people when they can see it.
Oh, and that's one of the biggest things in the drag world that, like, we talk about a lot. Like, shadiness is not meant to tear people down. Like, anytime I say something negative about Callie, I mean it. No, because I know she's strong enough, she can handle it, and she's an incredible performer. I have nothing but respect for her. But, like, we say all the time, if people saw, like, how we talk to each other, they would think, oh my God, are they separating? Are they fighting? What's going on? No, that's how we talk to each other.
Yeah, shade is our love language.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big difference between shade and bullying that some people don't realize, and some people are not adept. Is that the word, adept?
I think so.
They're not well versed enough in the art that is shade throwing to do it properly, that it's not bullying.
One of my favorite things to do, and it's shady as can be, but it always gets a fun reaction, is when someone walks into a room and I'll just go, oh, you did that on purpose. Never mind. What did I use to several performers when they would be at the end of a pageant doing their acceptance number? That's my moment, because everybody gets in line and gives them a tip, and I always take that as I need to shake them up and make them smile. I'll always walk up to someone, hand them $1 and go, that dress is beautiful. Did they make it in your size? And Aida Stratton, best reaction ever. She just looked at me and went, no, they don't. It's beautiful. And no harm meant by it, no ill will, just like, I need to shake you up a little bit. You're getting a little serious.
Shade, when it's done properly, is basically a joke between friends with a smidge of truth, or a smidge of tough love to it.
Yeah.
But no one should get their feelings hurt from shade. Bullying is completely different. And bullying behind a keyboard is just cowardly.
Oh, that. Yeah, very much so.
Said what I said.
And, like, I've been talking about this a lot lately, like, surrounding yourself with people who will tell you no, will tell you a little bit about yourself. That's healthy. That everybody should be surrounded by people who are like, no, not that.
I don't even necessarily think you need to be surrounded by people like that, because it's really hard, depending on especially age groups, to find a group where everyone is 100% honest. But you need that one good Judy that's going to be like, okay, everybody else thinks you're being cute right now, but I think you're being an ass, and this is why. So I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I find myself being that way because I see Facebook posts where somebody puts something up because they got in their feelings or they took themselves too seriously, and they're like, this happened and I felt this way and blah blah blah, and everyone in the comments is like, you're sickening, they don't know what they're talking about. And I usually find myself being the one to DM and being like, you're not though, and you misunderstood this, and all your friends are giving you bad advice, and you might not like what I have to say, but I'm trying to help you.
You've reached out to people like that before?
Yeah.
Individually, just like, hey, just so you know, these people aren't helping you.
Mm-mm.
And it is what it is. Like, it's an art form. There's ego involved, but sometimes you have to step back from your ego and go, oh, maybe I am the problem.
Well, and there's difference between being a supportive friend and a sycophant.
Yes.
And
or being a hanger-on. If I make this person feel good, they're going to bring me along. They're going to put me in shows. No.
Well, and there's lots of talk lately of Venn diagrams, and the Venn diagram is, yeah, there's like street racing happening outside of our apartment right now, and it's not me. The Venn diagram is kind of your fans and your friends, and there's a little bit of a crossover, but you need to find out who is who, because your fans are going to tell you what they want you. They're going to tell you what you want to hear because they want you to acknowledge them or do something for them, and so of course they're going to fill your heads with all the good, whereas your friends may do that also, especially if they're 100% on your side. But that's where the people are going to come in and be like, that thing you said, you should probably delete that, or you misunderstood what they were saying, you weren't there for the full conversation, things like that. It's just important because a lot of times drag is so all-encompassing for some people, and it's so over the top, and it's so cartoonish in a way that it's real easy to misread things. So when you have somebody that's telling you, oh no, you're right 100% of the time, that should be a red flag.
Yeah, that's scary. Robin's got 2 questions here. Are you ready? How long does it take to decorate the tree, and how long does it take to remove everything? Yes, our Christmas tree is still up. She'll go away in May.
I'm just lazy. I'm so
look at it.
Yeah, it looks great. I love it. So our Christmas tree is Labyrinth themed. The Labyrinth movie is my favorite movie of all time. And there's a scene in that movie where they're in a ballroom scene and they're dancing in a bubble.
There's Ludo.
So yeah, we have little characters and stuff. Putting up the tree is a very labor-intensive project, and it takes me forever because it's not unusual for me to put it up entirely, not like how it looks, and take it down and do it all over again. So putting up the tree can be anywhere from 2 to 6 hours because there's stuff hidden inside the tree too. I add extra branches to the tree. Yeah, that's the hello worm.
Hello.
He's up.
No, there. I said hello, but it's close enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what else you can see. Let's see. These peaches right here. There's a scene in the movie where she bites into a peach and it turns rotten in her mouth. So my mom made styrofoam peaches with actual peach pits in them, and when she sprayed them with spray paint, it actually ate into the styrofoam because she didn't realize that happened. So they look rotten. They're amazing. Ludo, and then you can't see him, but we have a big white snow owl on top of the tree. That's our tree topper for Jareth, the Goblin King. Ta-da! What else do we got? And it's just covered in like all kinds of food and accoutrement and stuff like that. There's the door knockers. We have full-scale door knockers. There's another one hidden in the bottom of the tree. I made a reproduction of Sarah's book that she reads, her copy of The Labyrinth.
The bracelet's in there somewhere.
Yeah, the Hoggles plastic bracelet that Sarah gives him. And then we have clear balls around the tree that I printed on clear paper, pictures of them from the bubble scene, so it looks like they're just floating. So I'm a little obsessed with that movie, but taking it down is pretty quick. I will tell you, if you do not have a tree spinner, buy one. It makes putting Christmas lights and decorating a tree so much faster because you don't have to go around the tree. It just does it for you, and you can just kind of unwind while you go. It's awesome.
I love that.
So a long time and not very long.
All right. So we got about a half an hour left. Why don't we talk about your helpful drag tip?
Oh, sure, because I haven't done enough talking tonight.
Right?
You can read it.
So we talked about Derek being a show director, and every week he has a wonderful drag tip. And this week's drag tip is: I would rather see an electrifying performer in a potato sack than someone who doesn't know the words in a $10,000 gown.
Said what I said.
Yeah. Know your words. That's the basic level of doing drag. You know, I stress myself out learning new numbers because I want to make sure the words are right. I'm doing 2 new numbers for Divas Down Under, and both of them, the words are not sinking in, but I have a couple weeks, and I'm like, I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get them. But
yeah, I mean, as a show director, I've put together hundreds of shows over the years for various venues, and I will get people sometimes that have or even just seeing people who are maybe are new to the scene, and they'll say, "Well, my costumes are $5,000 each. Why am I not getting booked?" And I'm like, "Because you can't perform in them. You can't walk in your heels. You don't know
yeah,
your words." And like that seems harsh, but Drag Race has put such a magnifying glass on what people outside of the community think drag is, that I can't risk liability performers. And that's a horrible way to say that, and I know that right now, but it is what it is. That's what it is. If I know you and I love you, but you're not doing the thing, my audience is going to know. And I've had audience members over the years come to me after shows, and it's extraordinarily awkward, and I would never tell performers that have had this said about them that it's been said. But when you have people that don't know you coming up to shows being like, "I don't know why you booked that person," like that person makes me not want to come to the show. No one has ever said that about you, Sean.
no, I've said it about me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you are your worst critic, but it's harsh, but it's true, because drag, as expensive as drag is to perform and perform well, drag is also expensive to attend.
Yes.
It is not cheap. And if you're going to a cheap show, there's probably a reason for it. And that's not to knock shows that have lower ticket costs. I think sometimes those shows are necessary to get new areas to know what's going on with drag and things like that. But like our show, it used to be $5 to get in. It
Yep.
was $5 and nobody would come. And then the venue was like, "Your show's way too cheap. People think you're putting out a garbage product." And I was like, "Well, we want people to come." And they said, "Trust us." So we begrudgingly raised our ticket prices, and then our numbers started going up, because when people think they're getting a more expensive product, they think they're getting a higher quality product. And that's not always true. But especially with that, I feel like there's an expectation on me, because we joke about it all the time. Jade has no control over that show whatsoever.
None.
I will ask for input when needed, but I'm kind of on autopilot. I know what that show takes. I know what people like. I know what I like, and I know what I want it to be. So there's tons of people that I would love to book because they're my besties or they're people I care about. But I'm like, I can't. I can't risk it, because one bad show and that show could die. And shows are teetering on the edge of like even existing right now, because Drag Race popularity is going up and local level drag shows are going down because money is hard. And post the blip, people are once again realizing that people kind of suck, and they don't want to go out in public and deal with the public at large. So it's a hard sell.
What is your thought on people who say, like, because our show is not in a LGBTQIA plus exclusive venue, what do you say to people who are saying, like, we're taking drag away from the gay community?
I think that's a much more old school approach to drag shows, and it seems to be the loudest voices on that side of the argument come from that generation, and I respect that opinion, but they're wrong. And the reason I say that, and I say that without mincing words, you are wrong. And the reason I say that is the community on the whole, the Alphabet Mafia, for the longest time, is so used to seeing drag every night of the week for free, because so many people go out and give it away because they want to dress up. And you do that, go for it. I mean, I'm sure we've done it a couple times. It happens, it's part of the process. But it got to the point where some of our most popular exclusive venues couldn't sell tickets to the show for $3 a pop.
Yep.
But when you're going to a venue that allows everyone to feel comfortable there, you're increasing your possibility of audience, and also they appreciate it more, because for your grandma who's out on her 90th birthday and just wants to have fun with the kids, she's never done that before. So for her, or someone like her, it's magical. It's like, I hate to say it, but I feel like every gay in the building thinks they could do drag and thinks they know what it should be and what it isn't. Straight people are just like, I saw a drag show. Like, so
Woo!
I love the Comedy Zone, not because it's not LGBT, QIA exclusive. I love it because it's accepting of everyone.
Yep.
So, and sometimes people don't feel comfortable in a nightclub. I've done shows in nightclubs for years, and I don't even necessarily feel comfortable in nightclubs unless I'm working.
We don't go out to them.
We don't.
That's not our thing.
Most of the time we don't have a chance.
Yeah.
Booked and blessed, thank you for that. But like, I think both are important. I think you need to have gay bars and stuff, even though they're not as popular now. I think you need those safe spaces, but I think it's blissfully unaware and verging on ignorant to say that doing drag in non-community spaces is hurting those spaces. Because here's the thing: you want to get into the reality of the matter. Our LGBTQ plus exclusive venues don't pay. At least the ones around here, and I can't believe we're the only ones having this experience. They don't pay because they know they can get drag on the cheap, but the drag they're getting on the cheap is maybe not the drag they want. So then they blame the performers and the drag community as the whole. If you want good drag, you have to pay because performance is expensive. My show pays very well, often to my own detriment. There's many people who say I pay way too well, but I know what drag takes because we are married and I get to see it every day. If you want drag to be better at your local gay venues need to be better. Do better, get better.
Yep.
Because I've had meetings with gay bar owners. I'm just going to say gay bar owners just because it's shorter, but you know what I mean. So many club owners are like, you should be happy for the experience. I've had club owners tell me that to my face when I've told them, this is what I'm doing at this other bar. This is what I could do for you. And they're like, you should be lucky I'm even entertaining this meeting. All right, fail.
Bye.
Fail. I can't wait for you to fail. I will dance on the grave of your club because you don't know what it takes. Because a lot of these club owners, the club is not their only source of income, so they don't care. There's one very well-known club in our area that is owned by a very wealthy individual who is very nice to my face, and we've had some great times, but that's not, this person is not dependent on that, so it's not their main focus. And that's sad because if they listen to some of the voices in the community, they would conquer all.
Well, and to tie in something that happened in the news recently, there was the lesbian bar in New York, the Cubbyhole. They had a lesbian at the club invited her straight friend. Okay, fine, no biggie. Straight female friend invites straight male friend to lesbian bar. Guy shows up, he's blocking the bathroom, and at one point someone looked at him and went, "Why are you here?" Those safe spaces are still important. Maybe even more so right now because, with the world the way it is right now, we need safe spaces. But we need to be safe at those safe spaces. One thing that used to burn me up more than anything else, and this was before gay marriage became the rule of the land, when straight girls would have their bachelorette party at a gay bar. I get it. You wanted that safe space for you, but you came into a space for people who could not legally get married. If you were one of those girls that had your bachelorette party at a gay bar before gay marriage was legalized, I hope you're a really good ally now because you weren't then. Simple as that. And I have never been I have been touched more by straight women than I have ever been like touched by a gay man inappropriately. You know, it's so weird. Like those safe spaces are important. I was doing a murder mystery. I got molested by a straight woman. I was like several times. Like one grabbed my ass. I've had my boobs grabbed, and I don't let that happen at shows. You know, recently in 2 separate shows, like I'm going for $1 and someone just reaches to grab my top and open it. I'm like, no, you don't get to do that. Some performers will allow that to happen. I'm not. I am not one of those. I've performed along cis women and trans women long enough to say, nope, you don't get to touch me that way. Sorry, because if you do it to me, you might do it to my sister over here who is not working with the same equipment I am. So just don't do it.
I'm going to push back against one thing you said just a little bit.
Yeah.
When you said that women that came to gay bars for bachelorette parties weren't being good allies at the time, I don't necessarily think that's true. I think the ones that weren't being good allies are the ones that go there and think the space is theirs.
That, yes.
Or the ones that will come, and this is still true in many ways, but the ones who came and thought it was their space and didn't took it for granted, and the ones who would go and party at the gay bar and then vote for legislation against it the next day.
Oh, yeah.
I think those are the, because there are plenty of straight women allies. We love straight women, you know.
But ally's not a costume you can put on and take off.
Right.
I have plenty of people who smile at me day after day that I know are voting against me.
Yeah, that's very different. I just think there's definitely a distinction there that we need to call out.
Vicky has a very good question here. Where do you see divas in the next 5 years? In a walker.
I don't know. There's some rumblings about possibly some major changes happening at the Comedy Zone. We don't know how true they are. If they happen, they could be very positive changes for our show, or they could possibly be a reason our show doesn't exist anymore. It's so hard to say. And right now, drag is so volatile as a business model. It is so hard to do. Because you're constantly having to evolve. Like recently, our shows have not been doing well, and historically, winter is a time for us to fill our coffers. Mm-hmm. I think that's the right way to say coffee.
It is.
Yeah, to refill the bank account, because there's not much to do elsewhere because it's cold and gross outside. Our crowds have been hovering around 50%, mm-hmm. And a year or two ago, probably I would say October to April, sold out weeks before. Mm-hmm. And that room can hold 200 people, but we reduce it to 188 because there's a room in the center, a row in the front that we don't use. But we're struggling, and lots of other shows are struggling right now. I would love to say maybe nothing will change and we'll just have a lot more experience under our belt. I would like to add some things to the show. I've been thinking about maybe adding in some additional lighting to make it seem more exciting, not necessarily flashing lights because I know there's concerns with that, but like just something to zhuzh up the space a little bit.
From a performer standpoint, a bunch of us have talked about doing group numbers. Like we want to do something, but right now we just getting our schedules to work out is a nightmare because between the 5 core cast members, like we're just busy. But yeah, we have a couple numbers in mind that we want to do. It's just a matter of getting us all in the same space to rehearse.
Derek's helpful supplementary drag tip for the day. Don't throw in a group number just because you want to without any rehearsal, because it makes everyone look foolish. If you're going to do a group number, do it right, do it on purpose, and do it with purpose. Done.
I will say, Lady Marmalade, fun number if everybody's on the same page, but don't spring it on a cast. I felt so bad. At the end of a show I did once, they were like, we're going to do Lady Marmalade as a curtain call number. And I was like, I'm not dressed for that. And they were like, what are you wearing for curtain call? I'm like, my Inside the Drag Closet shirt and some jeggings. I was going to look cute and cheeky and get to the next gig. And they were like, well, that's not appropriate for drag. And I'm like, you just sprung a number on me. So luckily, every drag performer should know Lady Marmalade like the back of their hand because it could happen. We did it at 50/50 Tap House a couple weeks ago, and it went well. But if anyone didn't know the number, like we right before the number, we looked at that show was Chastity Vane, myself, Stormy Sky, and Amethyst. Chastity is talking to the audience and she's like, figure out who's doing what. And Amethyst was like, I want to be Christina. And Stormy's like, I only know Christina. And we were like, shoot, now we have to redo things. So I think Amethyst did Pink, Stormy did Christina. I got to be Lil Kim because I wanted to. Because I was doing comedy that whole night. I'm like, I have to be Lil Kim. That's the only way this is gonna work. And we were like, Chastity came over and she's like, you got it figured out? And we're like, yeah, you're Maya, go. Because nobody wants to be Maya. Sorry about it, Maya. Nobody wants to start that number. But yeah, we pulled it out of our back pocket. I'm pretty sure I know that entire song. I don't think I'd ever want to be Christina, to be very blunt. Like, that's not
I don't
me.
think Christina wants to be Christina.
No, that's not my vibe. Somebody else can hit all those high notes. Now, on a Spice Girls number, I'll be sporty because she gets all the cool parts. But yeah, it's just, we were talking about that with a brunch recently. We were going to do a group number at the end, and the show director was throwing out a couple cute ideas, but there was a king in the show. And I was like, you're throwing out all of these all-female numbers. This one had an incredible idea. Love Shack by the B-52s. Easy, fun, really good number, and more than just female voices. So especially if you're having a diverse cast in your show, which all shows should have diverse casts, just throwing that out there. Yeah, just know some songs.
Well,
and think about your cast.
Songs like Love Shack are great because yes, technically it's a group performance, but there's no choreography. There's no it's a free for all, and it's supposed to be. So those numbers are. I was talking more for clarification. I was talking more like numbers that take choreography or something like that.
Yeah,
like Cell Block Tango. Don't pull out. I want to do Cell Block Tango two numbers before the show's over, because if so, you're a monster.
absolute monster. We did that number during Amateur Drag Race, and it took rehearsal. And then, yeah, that was a lot. So what do you want to talk about? We've got 15 minutes.
Ooh. 15 minutes, everyone.
Thank you, 15.
Yes. Show director notes things. If anyone's thinking about becoming a show director or is a show director, things that I've been told recently by performers that
stop now.
Things that people say they really appreciate. Start normalizing putting people's pronouns on the lineup for the show.
Yeah.
Make people put their pronouns in group chats. Normalize taking pictures of the performance venue and posting them in the group chat for people that may never have been there.
Yes.
These are not rocket science, and it's things people tell me all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you did that. I'm like, doesn't everybody do that? And if they don't, why don't they? Also, normalize having pay ready for your performers within a half hour after the show's over. If a performer's been in the dressing room for 2+ hours before the show, and then the show's 3 hours, that's 5 hours. If you couldn't come up with the pay in 5 hours, maybe you're in the wrong business. Sorry. Write a check, get a Venmo address, figure it out.
In this era of Venmo, there's no reason for someone to have to wait 2 hours to get paid after a gig. Like,
I like that.
Yes, Stephen, that is a very good one. If a show is PG-13, make sure they send in their music to review. Absolutely. Nothing drives me crazier than doing, well, two sides of this. If the event is PG-13 or all ages, I'm just going to say all ages, I will gear my music to all ages.
As you should.
If the gig is 21 and up, I know I can be a little more loosey-goosey, use some obscenities, blah, blah, blah. However, and I've talked about this before, if an event is 21 and up and the owner allows children in, that puts the performer in an awkward spot. I have changed my numbers before because a 21 and up event allowed kids in, and I am not the one that's gonna, consent is a two-way street. Yes.
I'm going to expand on that. I think a good show director, regardless of the event, should be previewing music regardless.
Yes.
I listen to every track when we have our group chat for divas. We have a monthly group chat. It changes every month depending on who the guests are. I have everyone call their music, and if they're doing a mix, which is very common in drag, for those of you that don't know what I'm referring to, it's when multiple songs are put together or combined to create a more heightened performance. I will make people change their music. 21 plus show, I don't care. If two of you are doing a snippet of the same song, fight it out to the death. I'm not having. If a song only has 15 performances in it, there's no reason that there should be repeats. And it's a first come, first serve basis. And there's times where I'll say to a non person of color, you cannot perform that song. That song has a particular word in it that you should not be saying. And even if you know you're not going to lip sync it, I'm not taking the risk. You need to change your music. So I think it takes literally 10 minutes to blast through a cast list songs because I don't listen to them the whole way through. I just jump around a little bit. And I don't want to hear the same song twice. I don't care how bad you and Becky Sue Bronte want to do. I don't know where that came from. That's my new drag name, Becky Sue Bronte. But I don't care how much you and this other girl both want to do Yes and by Ariana Grande because it just came out. Only one of you is doing it. I don't care who it is, but only one of you. Like it's stuff like that. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to do. Also, normalize putting Venmo and Cash App information for your performers on the tables.
Yes.
It's a trick we learned in Rehoboth. I've been doing it at Divas ever since. Especially newer college-age individuals do not carry cash, do not like to handle cash. So it takes 30 seconds to do a couple printouts, and it's an additional way to get income for your performers and yourself. I put myself on it. I also put the name of my stage kitten and also my backstage manager because they don't get tips. So anything you can do to make your performers' lives easier is going to make your show go better, and it's going to make you look better.
It's small stuff. And I think that's where you have the added benefit of not being a drag performer in the show.
Right.
So you get that wonderful ability to step back and see what works, what doesn't work. And, a lot of drag shows, are run by a drag performer, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you've got that extra, you can step back and look and see what works and what doesn't work, which is incredible.
I'm typically stressed out enough before a show just with what I do, and I'll admit it, I'll own it. I'm a tyrant and I'm a monster, but it's because I want to put out a good product. I couldn't imagine trying to do everything that I do and then adding a level of I need to perform a couple numbers, I need to be in drag. Like without here comes the shade bus again. There are not many people that I've experienced over the years that can handle doing both at the same time. Pick a lane and stay in it. I understand doing both increases your take at the end of the night, but sometimes the extra $20 that you're getting in your pocket is maybe 5 or 6 people that aren't coming to your next show because you didn't do it very well. So there are a few that do it very well. One that always comes to mind when I'm having this discussion who does it very well is Fancy Dismount.
That's what I was thinking.
Fancy Dismount can do both at the same time seamlessly, and it works really well. And it's not a bad thing to not be able to do both.
Yeah. Like I very much like not being a show director because I can focus on me. I've been a show director. I've run shows before. I've been there. I've done that. I like to focus on what I'm going to do on stage, and that just makes me a better performer. I don't like splitting my attention. And it's funny, like every once in a while at the end of Divas Down Under, I'll take off. Like once the show's done, I'm out. I think it was Alize looked at me. No, who was it? Somebody looked at me at the end of the show and was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just tired." Like once the show's done, I'm done partying. I'm ready to sleep.
Audience members, respect dressing rooms.
Yes.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
They're not always men.
They changed it to drag queen. But no, like that's unless you were personally invited by someone who's actually affiliated with the show, that space ain't for you, hun.
Very true.
It's my show, and I don't even go in there very often unless I absolutely need to, because it's not for me. Would you go to, you know, the Super Bowl just happened and they won a field hockey goal and hit a home run. I don't know what happened. Taylor was there. Hey.
Taylor was there.
But no, seriously, would you go to a football game and go into the locker room? No, you wouldn't. It's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
Well, and it's just it's a private space. You know, I recently did a show and one performer was changing quite a lot, and you know, she had her boobs out and they were hers. She paid good money for them too. But there was just nowhere for her to go to get out of the way. So and that was just a logistical thing of that space. So some people were very respectful coming back to use the restroom because they knew they had to be in our space, and we were like, that's cool, just you're gonna see some things, but talking about tits. So
speaking of which, I'm gonna expand on one of my tips earlier about putting pronouns on show lineups. Show directors and MCs, stop misgendering your cast members.
yes,
Everybody slips. That's fine. But if you have a hard time getting it right, give yourself a copy of the lineup. Write it down. Like, it's not hard. It's not hard. And when you're representing someone in public on a microphone, I'm not a performer, but if I was misgendered or or also learn how to say their names correctly. Every time I hear your name be butchered, first of all, I'm like, where did those 16 extra letters come from?
oh, it's so funny.
Jade Devereaux? Are you kidding? Devereaux.
There are 6 letters.
Or Devour.
Devore. I get Devore a lot. I'm like, where's the O? There's no O. Like,
yeah, if you're emceeing and if you have to say, there is power in names. And I've not always been the best about this. I've always tried my best and I've gotten much better. There's power in a name. Say it correctly. There's power in a pronoun. Get it right. And if you have to ask, there's no shame in asking.
Especially at a queer event. If you are going to misgender someone at a queer event, you are not a good ally, or you are not a good queer person.
And also, when you do that, whether that's your intention or not, it silently gives people that will do it on purpose for not slipping, the people that just do it out of malice. It's almost giving them,
it empowers them.
It's empowering. Whether that's your reasoning or not, or, you know, and like I said, everyone slips. My God, I've slipped. But if it becomes habitual, there's a bigger problem there, and maybe you're in the wrong industry as well.
Yep, exactly. Star is on top of it tonight. Look at her go. Hi, Casey. How are you doing? Yeah. What other show?
This is just turning into a lot of stuff.
Oh, we're gonna read this out loud. Wait, where is it? As a male performer, it's annoying to be called she, her, and Ms. Zion Du Bois. Miss Ma'am, no. I book mostly trans and NB performers. Pronouns matter. Exactly. Like it's like we were just saying, it emboldens the people who will do it out of malice.
Well, and sometimes someone's meaning to get it right and still slips. I had a moment like that at the last Diva show, because and it wasn't towards anyone in particular, but at the beginning of our shows, I do Derek's Rules of Etiquette, where I talk about tipping, don't touch the performers, things like that. And I was getting to the end of tipping, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be cute. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because this one was standing there and caught me and called me out right as it happened. But I started saying a new thing that was, because the old expression used to be, if the queen makes you holler, give that bitch a fucking $1. And I'm like, that's it's outdated and it's a little gross.
Yep.
So I started saying, if the queen, king, or thing makes you holler, give him, her, or them a fucking $1. And we're allowed to say F, right? Yeah. Well, I already said it. It doesn't matter.
No, we're not.
Well, I already fucking said it. But yeah, so the new phrase was, if the queen, king, or thing makes you holler, give him, her, or them a fucking $1. And I was like, that's really cute. And I was like, okay, guys. And Jade's standing there and goes, how's that not gendered language turning into gendered language working out for you? And I was like, son of a.
His face, he was just like, I was doing so well.
Yeah, it was like I knew it went wrong in that second. I caught it probably before you did, but
And Guys is one of those ones, it's so hard to deprogram, but once you deprogram it, it's not hard.
a trick that I've started doing, just use the venue name. Don't say ladies and gentlemen, don't say kids, don't say peeps, I always just say like Harrisburg Comedy Zone, how are we doing tonight? And that's my default because it's completely there's no gender to it. You can't get it wrong. But
yeah. Hey there, Inside the Drag Closet. How's everybody doing tonight?
It makes things, or even the show name. Hey, Divas Down Under crowd. Like there's a million ways you can go. There's lots of tricks to do it.
Yep.
Also, practice ad-libbing on a microphone.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times there are certain performers on the cast who may have been in the comments section earlier who like to take 12 hours after their numbers collecting leftover tips. And sometimes
Amethyst Diamond.
Oh, you should probably get that checked
out. It's going around.
But no, sometimes between numbers, sometimes you can roll a song back if there's a lot of dollars in the air and the person wants to perform. But like if Jade does a high intensity dance number and doesn't get to collect all of her tips and needs time to go around, you need to keep the crowd interested. Oh, I love,
ladies and gentledames. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've always heard it ladies and gentle thems, but I like gentle theys too. That's fun. Yeah, that's cute. Although that in my head is a tongue twister, so I think I would just mess it up. I usually just stick with the venue name, but I really do like that. But yeah, there's so much stuff that people, when they come do divas, they act like I'm rewriting the book on drag, and I'm like, these are simple things that everyone should be doing. It is not, because it's all stuff that we've done. Jade has done hundreds, if not thousands, of drag shows in the past 12 years we've been together. It just is what it is. of all calibers, all venue sizes, all expectations. And you take mental notes after you've been in the game that long of like, that was awful. I never want to do that to a performer.
Yeah.
That was really awesome. I'm going to start doing that now. And it's okay to borrow things, and if it's something that is, so egregiously borrowed, just give the person a shout out. There's times that Fancy will say, I'll bring up Fancy Dismount again. Fancy will have really great lines that she'll use for her shows, but because my shows are so far away, I'll often maybe steal a joke or something and be like, oh, that's not my joke. That was actually Fancy Dismount. You should check her out, and just give her like a shout out.
What was the one we wanted to say recently? And I know Fancy stole it from somewhere, but this show is sponsored by Tampax tampons. Tampax, we're not the best, but we're up there.
It's awful.
You're welcome.
It's awful.
It's just... So... I started calling myself an entertainer instead of male entertainer because there's an issue about male or female entertainment with biophonic. Exactly. And that's, they have changed the title. The term used to be bio queen or faux queen.
And then it was hyper femme.
Yeah. Now they're just a drag queen.
Yeah. Like half the time I just say drag performer because especially with this may not be the best way to address this, but there's kind of a new phenomena happening amongst NB performers and alternative drag that is referring to themselves as drag things, which is why I said queen, king, or thing. And while it's something that I'm not super used to seeing on a personal level, it's what people want to be called, so I'm doing my best. So I try not to even address, because that terminology is constantly evolving and it's hard to keep up with it. So an easy way to not mess up is just not use it at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, buddy, it looks like we have reached pretty much the end of the evening.
Well, I talked a lot.
We got feisty and I liked it.
I was like, I want to keep it light tonight.
Oh, yeah. Before the show, we were just like, let's not dive into politics or anything heavy. And here we are.
It's all my fault.
It's true.
Now we can't have Christmas.
I'm pretty sure we could.
I guess we could.
I'm pretty sure we still are.
It's February.
It's February.
Let's just redecorate it with hearts. Oh, Valentine's Day is over too.
It's today. No, we have like 2 more hours.
We'll put Easter eggs on it. My mom used to do that. I used to love it.
I hate that.
Well, now I'm doing it just to spite you.
Well, do you have any last words for the guests that are watching this evening?
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your continued support of the show. Usually I'm in the comments section with you, so it's awesome to get the opportunity when I can to be a part of the show in a more active role. Keep an eye out for upcoming details about Divas Down Under shows. We are doing shows every month this year, except for September, and we have some incredible performers who are guest starring with us in the months coming up. Also, just because you're super special and such a great audience, there is potential for me to start a new venture here shortly. I have some meetings coming up for something new and completely different. So I'm very excited about that. So keep an eye out to see if that comes to fruition. Come to Divas Down Under. If you can't come to Divas Down Under, I know that's a little self helpful there, but go support local drag because we are all struggling right now. And if you want to continue to see drag in your area or anywhere that's accessible to you, you've got to go support shows. If you can't tip, that's fine. Clap. You don't have. Drag is very expensive to go see, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Drink soda instead of booze. You know, advertise the show if you can't tip. There's ways you can be supportive. If you can't go to a show, maybe say, hey, I love this show, I can't go this month, and share the ticket link. There's a lot of ways you can help. Because yeah, I love doing Divas Down Under, but so many drag performers now, it's their only means of occupation, and they rely on it. So yeah, so keep an eye out for Divas Down Under. Hopefully I'll be starting something new here. We'll see how it goes. Make sure that you're supporting Inside the Drag Closet. They have amazing merch. I know because I made it.
And great merch. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. That's all available at JADE&DEREK.com.
Oh my goodness. Ting.
I completely forgot about the merch.
No, it's fine. But yeah, thank you all. And I can't wait to be with you in the comment section being shady next time.
Speaking of which, I'm very excited. On February 28th, we will be back. Myself and Amethyst will be back. Hopefully, she was in the comment section. She better be here. But our incredible guest that night, I have to message him and confirm with him. But our guest is going to be the incredible Camden Summers.
Yes.
I adore Camden.
I love that photo.
Right? That's such a good photo of him. But yeah, we are going to be talking about how his drag life has been because he just moved out of this area. I didn't realize that until recently, but I've always been a fan of his and I'm super excited to chat with him. Like Derek said, everybody go out, support some local drag, be kind to each other. It's going to be a rough year and we're all going to get through it together. And I'm going to go get a shower and we're going to probably just veg and watch some TV because we're romantic.
Hey, before we go,
yeah,
happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And I don't say it enough, but I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. He bought me flowers today and I suck because I'm not a person that really celebrated holidays.
Well, you're planning something for the trip that I'm excited about, so we'll say that's my Valentine.
Several some things that you don't know about. Anyway, good night, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on Inside the Drag Closet.